Hello all, this is my pretty informal review of the original tractor cab system. So I bought this for my 2019 1025R with forward leaning ROPS. I don't have a whole lot of hours on the cab, probably one maybe. The tractor has 12 hours on it as of this recording in 2021 and January. So I like it overall. It does the job. That's the bottom line, right? Is it effective? It's effective. It keeps the weather off you. It's pretty decent. The materials are okay. Fit and finish is all right. You get what you pay for. I'm just going to say that. So the original tractor cab itself, it's okay. Putting it together is fine. It takes a little while. I had some issues with this guy here staying underneath the windshield. The biggest problems come from back here. I had just a hell of a time keeping these two sides, these brackets, level. Very difficult to do. And as you can see, that one is considerably lower than this one. That is not good. You want that to be the same height, otherwise you get a difference here. And I think it affects the whole cab overall and the door from opening and closing. The other issue I had is that most of the doors operate like this one. You know, nice spring, easy movement, no problem. They can get hung up in here. There's a little nub that holds a spring. And on the other door I'm experiencing where it's galling, it won't open. This one's pretty smooth. Both doors, the rods are straight. So that one closes pretty good. This other one, however, requires a considerable amount of force to open. And I think I'm going to end up breaking or bending this for sure. Yeah, that's on there. And you can see it doesn't snap back open because something's happening over here. That spring or something is getting stuck up over that nub, causing that to stick. So not sure exactly how I'm going to figure that out. The doors themselves lined up just fine and they close okay. So the next thing is that this is not going to be like a full-on factory cab or Curtis cab at all. It's not going to be. There's definitely air leaks and whatnot. I do like that you can easily take the doors off, and you can pretty much take everything off, even this windshield here, pretty easily if you wanted to, just by slightly prying up on this and down here, this bar that holds it. This could pop that right off, and you could have a totally open station with the exception of the sunshade. The heater they include, this heater is completely worthless. It is a pile of crap. It doesn't do a damn thing, which I'm really glad I didn't hard mount that. I just zip tied it to a bar because it sucks. It doesn't really direct airflow fast enough or hot enough to really keep the windshield defrosted on really nasty days. I've really only pushed snow with the bucket on this a couple times. So the big saving grace though, that wiper system is excellent. It works really good on that glass. It's just fantastic. The convex mirror kit you can get from them. Now this is a pretty generic part. It actually works fantastic. In fact, I'm going to say that's the only one you need. These side mirrors are terrible. They're a horrible design. They're cheap as hell. I don't like them at all. Every time you open the door, it moves these. So if I adjust it to where I want it, let's say I want it tilted down so I can see whatever I've got on the back here, happens to be a snowplow. The minute you open this, it's going to move it. So, so when you get in, and it doesn't allow the doors to open very far either. So that when you get in and you have to fix it, you got to reach around the top and you can do this, but you can't really do that. Like I have a hard time reaching that. So a much better design for the mirrors would be to have a bracket that bolts up here and comes out and down. That would be much better. Moving these forward so that you can allow the doors to open more fully. It would also make for a much easier install, so you wouldn't have to, you'd probably still have to take that bolt out, which is kind of a pain. I suggest using a punch to guide through so the pieces stay in alignment. But I didn't like taking this off. This caused everything to go out of whack. I didn't really like that. And then as soon as I took this off, this thing fell down, and it was a whole issue. The lights, these are also original tractor cab. They work pretty good. They're fairly bright. They're pretty decent. I think quality-wise overall, I'm not unhappy with the quality. Putting them together was a pain. These little bolts here, right in there, those are held together on the other side with a tiny little nut that you have to drop in there and somehow put the bracket on while aligning the nut on the inside and putting that through. And that was a nightmare. That took a while. I ended up just tipping them vertical and then just rocking them around until they fell on top of the bolt. And then it worked. But overall, I mean, I probably have $2,000 invested in this whole thing, this whole tractor cab system. And, you know, for what it costs, it's not bad. If you spend a little over double, you can get a Curtis Advantage cab, which would be infinitely better in terms of quality, construction, fit and finish. I mean, that Curtis cab is amazing. And if you wanted to spring for the Mauser cab, I guess you could do that too. That one's like $8,000 or even $6,000 or $8,000, I think the dealer told me installed on my tractor. So if that's the case, you might want to just put some hours on it and trade it and get one with a cab. So, you know, I like the Curtis cab because the rear window comes out and you can use a backhoe, which I don't have, but gives you a lot more flexibility. You wouldn't have to run hydraulics or electronics for a snowblower with the Curtis cab. If it's in the rear, you could just take the window off and use the crank hand function to rotate the chute. So, I mean, that's all right. But overall, it's not a bad, I don't know, I probably wouldn't buy it again. You know, if I'd have given it myself some more time, you know, I have a truck I plow with, I probably would have waited another year. I probably would have spent, you know, $5,000 or so on the Curtis cab and done that. But, you know, it'll work for me. I probably wouldn't buy it again. But if you're in the market for a pretty cheap cab, as long as you know what you're getting, this is it. All right, guys, thanks for watching.